Hey guys, this is going as Kara here with an Awakened Kaeros Era video. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the top 5 elite heroes in this game. A lot of these are very in-game viable, and they're relatively easy to acquire, them being so much more common than the epics and then the legendary heroes in this game. So I'm glad that I waited a little bit to do this video because I've been progressing quite a bit in this game. And a lot of the progression and the things you learn to appreciate in this game all come as you start to do different game modes. Whereas if you're just in the beginning phases of the game with going through campaign, or you're just starting to do the certain dungeons but haven't done Void Tower yet, there's certain game modes that are going to make characters way more valuable. And then there's certain game modes that make this character feel like he's terrible. So as you start to progress through the game, you have different levels of appreciation for a lot of these characters. So as I've done a lot of these different game modes, I feel like I can accurately explain what are the best current elite heroes in Awakened Chaos Era. In no particular order here, these are all very good heroes and are going to be very useful for people, whether you're an actual spender or if you're free to play friendly. And the first one is going to be Mary here. And the reason why she's so good is actually a couple reasons, but the main reason is going to be this. Removes one negative effect from all team members and grants one invincible to all team members for one turn. Invincible is removed upon taking a valid hit. So if there's ever a situation in the game where you're taking mass AoE damage, you throw the invincible on, you time it just right to, you need to learn the mechanics of the boss to when this is going to be useful, whether it be guild boss, whether it be campaign at the very end on like 10-8, for example, when you're facing the dark version of Nicholas, or in Ash, for example. And then there's more bosses that have this mass AoE. There's so many different game modes that actually have this, so that's why she's so popular and so used so much. And then also in Void Tower 2, there's the minions hit so hard that having a character that could just negate all the damage is great. But then she still has even more uses too, because she has this move here where it grants a bonus turn to a team member at the end of the round, as well as damage up and immune for 2 turns, which is fantastic. You could pair her. There's a lot of characters that actually synergize well with immune, let alone getting the extra turn, which is great, and the damage up too, so you could allow your damage dealer to go twice, kind of thing. So super good there. She has a stun on her auto attack, a 30% chance, which I don't like to rely on. And then in Void Tower, when you get to hard, for example, you can't stun people. But if you're just trying to progress, especially in the campaign and stuff, this is actually a really good auto attack, to just a little extra utility there if you actually can land the stun. And then I would say her passive is one of her most useful things too, which is the removes the negative effect from all team members at the start of the turn, cooldown 3 rounds. So she could do it, but then she's not going to do it for quite a while after. But in Ash, for example, you could take her in, and then when the bomb comes out, now that it's random, it used to be you could always target to one person, so it wasn't that big of a deal, whereas now it's random, so she'll always be able to cleanse it. So you can actually rely on it regardless of who it hits. You could cleanse it. There's many examples of wanting to be able to cleanse a AoE. In Arena, for example, you could cleanse, you could take damage and then it will auto cleanse. So and another thing too about this turn-based game, having a move that you don't need to actually use the move, it's just a passive that happens at the end of the round, is fantastic. So, or at the start of the turn, I should say. So super useful character here, amazing for a rare. She just got nerfed. It used to be the invincible lasts 2 turns, so you didn't need to time it as well, or you could do it first and then have an extra turn buffer there, so the cooldown would be a little sooner. But they made it only 1 turn, which I think is kind of fair. She was cheesing a lot of content. It is a bummer for free to play and light spenders because she was just so good, but it's an understandable nerf in my opinion for a character this powerful. Next on the list is gonna be Connor here. He's amazing. He's easily up there as one of the best healers in this game, but what's cool about him is he has a couple things. Has his A2, which is grants a team-wide shield and attack up with strength that increases based on this character's attack. Most people I see build him just as survivable as possible, because that's one thing that's true for all of these rare heroes, is a lot of them don't have good survivability, and you're getting a good hero as an elite, but that's usually the sacrifice you're gonna have to make, is that their survivability is always going to be a little lower than what you could expect out of an epic or a legendary hero. But you get this really good good skill here. But so you get that sacrifice, but you get really good kits out of some of these. So it's a really good kit, but you got to baby them a little bit more. You need a little bit better gear than you normally would. But I think it's worth it for the value you get out of these guys. So grants a team-wide shield and attack up with the strength that increases based on this character's attack for 2 turns. So this the shield strength increases, but for the most part, I think at the moment, I think you just build him as fast as possible and with as much survivability as possible, like either health or defense. And then shield's actually pretty big, even just with your base attack or just like some of the tech you get normally. And then he has a heal, heals all team members, healing skills with this character's attack, which is great. And then he has a defense down, 30%, which is not reliable. If you're going to be wanting to place that defense down, you're going to want it from someone else, but it's nice to have. It's kind of a little bonus there. And then lastly, he just gets free attack out of his passive. So it looks like a pretty simple kit, but attack up is super useful. There's characters that synergize well with it. There's a starting hero that synergizes well with it as well in this faction here. So you could synergize if you ended up choosing Evra. She gains abilities based on having attack up. So when you have attack up, launches a bonus attack. So you could see, so if this is your starting hero, you're getting this free character because you could get him just from doing missions here for 100% for free. Just clear stage 3-4 and then any stage in No Man's Land 3 times. It's super easy to do, and you're guaranteed to get Connor. So very good character. I use him in late game. There's people all the way super far into the Void Tower here that use Connor up in some of the higher stages and have cleared it with him. So he's going to be useful for a very long time. Maybe not this stage, but there's definitely stages up here. I believe someone cleared the stage I'm stuck on and still uses Connor. So he's a very in-game viable character. Yeah, so Connor right there. So he's very good. And when you look at how he builds them just all speed. So looking at the stats here, it's 260 speed. And feel free to look at this. This is not everyone could look at this, but it's really cool that you could see how people are building these characters out. And this is very hard content, and they're still using a character like this up here, which I think is really cool. So 260 speed, only 1300 defense, and 2000 attack. This is very low attack stat. And then the defense is very hard to get it up to this point with a character without A or S tier defense. And you need pretty good gear, let alone the 260 speed part. You could probably crank this defense way higher, but they'd be way slower here if you look at his actual. And then you could even go in and check out his gear, see what he rolled and stuff. So very cool that they allow that in the game on people to really help you clear these harder stages, but it also clues you in on what the good heroes are. So then he's also useful in like Ashe 12 stuff. So when it comes to progression in campaigns, so you're always going to use this character. So feel free to just fully invest into him because he's one of the better healers in this game, let alone just a fire healer. What I like is that there seems to be a good healer for each type, but the rarities of those healers changes. So for example, in green, you got Mythasia. For blue, you have Blackhorn. Now that they buffed him, he's actually pretty good, if not really good. And you could get him out of the battle pass. And then for red, you get Connor, and he's free for everyone. So pretty cool that at least on the red side, you're going to get such a easy character to get, and he's really good. So next on this list for better elites is going to be Joseph here, and what's makes him good is mainly going to be this. So applies attack up and defense up to all team members for 3 turns. Great ability. You're getting both the survivability and the extra damage. And attack in this game, like a lot of times attack up is not great. It doesn't do that much for your damage. In this game, I think it really is noticeable when you have attack up, let alone if you have characters that actually synergize off the attack up buff. And then and survivability wise too, getting that extra defense really matters. Then he has a special, removes all negative effects from the target, and if successful, grants a target a bonus turn. That's going to be super useful. For example, in Ashe, you'll be able to manually cleanse whatever buff that is, and then also give him an extra turn there. And then he has speed up on his auto attack, and he has extra speed here, so it's going to be easier to boost up his speed. The issue with him is definitely going to be his survivability, like a lot of these characters. Mary has similar stats than him, but Mary is literally giving people invincibility, so the survivability might not be as apparent there. Whereas with Joseph, you're not getting any survivability. You are getting this 30% defense up, but it is going to take some extra stats here to really make him actually survive a lot of this hard content if you're going to be bringing him in. But still a very good character. If you need the cleanse, you could take it in. He's very fast. Because of his passive here, even though he only has B tier speed, it's a little deceiving there because of his passive. So very useful character, a lot of progression, mainly used in Ashe if you're struggling with that dungeon, but still very solid character. Next on the list is going to be Zachary here. You are guaranteed to get him in the campaign. I believe he's one of the first characters you get in the game, and he's awesome. So mainly what he is just good AoE damage. So this is a really good progression style character. Both him and Connor are a good tag team in helping you with progression. You got the heals and the shields here, and then you got just straight up AoE damage. And in the beginning of the game, AoE damage is amazing. Like, this is the thing you're going to really appreciate. That's why people like Hydri so much. Evra's a really good starter. Zachary's a really good starter. Stuff like that, because in the beginning it really matters. And then I could get into the specifics of the typing that you find in there, but I'm not going to get into that. You might struggle. I believe chapter 8 is hard because it's all water characters, but still a very good character for progression. He does good damage, so deals 150% damage to all enemies. The fewer the enemies, the more damage the attack deals. And then deals what is this? Another 150% damage plus 50% bonus damage if the target has less than 50% max health remaining. And then also does 100% damage to an enemy and grants attack up to this character for 1 turn. So even his auto attack's good. The only drawback is his B tier attack is going to be pretty noticeable the later you go on in the game, or when you do get a legendary character. The base stats really matter in making a character hit hard or not. That, and combined with the modifiers, at least he has other ways of modifying it, where if there's less enemies, his AoE does more damage, or if they have less health, it does more damage. So he has a couple of good things going for him there. I think he's a great starting hero. He's useful. And then the big thing too about these heroes is that even if they get replaced with a better damage dealer, type advantage really matters in this game, because you get 50% damage boost if you have type advantage, and you get more survivability if you have type advantage. So he's always going to be useful for you if you, for example, in dungeons here. So you go, even though you might, let's say you have a better damage dealer, you get like Hydri, or you get I don't know, Evra, or you get even ones that are not guaranteed, but you just happen to have someone that you're using significantly more than him, then he's still going to be useful here, because this is a green boss. He's going to be able to handle the ads for you. So don't feel bad about investing in a character now, and then when you pull someone better, he's not going to be used, because in this game, this game really encourages you having a wide roster. Like, your wide roster actually really matters because of how important Infinity Advantage is, and how important like specific boss mechanics could affect how good a character is. So I think he's really good, and it makes it to where you could invest in a different character, and we'll probably cover that in a different video on if you're willing to use him as your early game character. You can invest in one of a different style legendary to help progress in other parts of content later on. And so I don't want to get too far into that, but it's kind of a cool thing to take note of. And then okay, so next on the list is going to be Charles. So I think this character is fantastic, and I don't think he gets talked about enough. And I'm going to be leveling out because I want to try him out, because I think he's going to be very useful even in late game. Okay, so he has a very unique passive. Attacks dealt by this character deal bonus true damage equal to 30% of defense, which is insane. Yes, he only has B tier defense, which is a bummer, but it's going to take decent gear to really get this damage ramping up. And especially when you ascend him, 50% of his defense is going to be coming through. So his auto attacks are great, because I really am appreciating this passive on it, where you get taunt on your auto attack. Very useful. Brand has it, and a lot of times I'm using the taunt on Brand more than I'm using his attack up and defense up in certain scenarios, like hard void tower. If you're really trying to struggle clearing a boss or something like that, you can land the taunt. If the mechanics of the fight allow you to land taunt, it's very useful, especially in a character that's scaling up defense, and he's able to do it just on his A1. I don't like taunts that are on a cooldown. I want to be able to constantly rely on it, because it's only 1 turn, so you're going to need to keep replying it. And he has it on his basic. When you book it up, 100% chance to apply. Fantastic. Then he has this passive here where +1 rage upon taking a valid hit, plus 10 defense per rage. And then it's, when you level it, it's 20% defense per rage. So he's going to be constantly not only taunting people, getting attacked, scaling his defense, so he's going to be getting more survivable, and that's going to be scaling his passive to do more damage. The 30% true damage of his defense, or 50% if you have him ascended 5, which is going to be hard for a lot of light spenders. So then lastly, he has this ultimate 4-turn cooldown, 100% damage to an enemy, but the percentage damage doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is his defense and the true damage of his passive. Who cares about the 100% defense is gonna, or the 100% damage is gonna hit like an absolute noodle. But grants a shield to two turns with strength that scales based on this character's defense. So not only is he scaling, his true damage is scaling, his shield is scaling, and he's able to provide his own survivability. I think he's awesome. I think he can really help you clear out a lot of hard stages, just based on if you're willing to manual it and take the time to allow him to scale. And then he's also going to make other people be more survivable and allow them to last longer because of his taunt here. The big thing is just make sure you build him with a decent amount of focus if you're going to be building him. But I think this character is awesome. You know, obviously defense and then focus is going to be the big thing because you're going to be wanting to land this taunt. But damage does not matter. All his modifiers don't matter. The only thing that matters is how much defense you can get him and how long in content that allows you to actually scale. And then he's going to actually hit like an absolute truck. So I think he's very good. You're probably going to want to pair him up with a healer, or you can pair him up with the summoner spell that gets healing, because eventually he's going to be so strong that he's not going to be able to be touched. So potentially I could see like a resistance build. I think in defensive arena he's going to be pretty good. For example, I think he's going to be useful in Void Tower, and then also if you see this and you're just starting to play the game and you see this early, he might be useful even in campaign and stuff for you, trying to beat through hard and Mystic campaign. So I think he's a very good character, especially in a lot of content in this game. And then the more I test him, the more I'll know, but I think he's a great elite character. I want to mention Hewlins, and reason why he's so good is he has a combination of his passive, especially if you have him Ascended, only needs Ascended 2. Attacks have a 100% chance to apply no positive effects on the target, which is great. And then he also, on his auto attack, deals 70% damage. Who cares about that? But he has an 80% chance when bugged to apply Unhealable for 2 turns. There's a lot of content in this game that Unhealable is going to be very useful. That in combination with the no positive effects is awesome to have. He applies poison here, which is good. It's just a nice thing to have, that it's so easy for him to apply this no positive effects, because all of his moves are going to be applying that, and then he just gains the bonus. Which debuff does he want to do? Does he want to do Unhealable? Does he want to contribute to a poison team, or just want to apply poison there? Or does he want to spread and duplicate all negative effects affecting them onto a random enemy? So he gives you a lot of options based on what team you're running, and I think that's awesome. And the main part where people are using him that I've seen is going to be in the dungeons here, is right here in Queen of Tides. People have been, I've seen manual teams. I haven't seen any auto teams with him on it, but if you're manually trying to beat Sage 12, and a lot of people, especially if you don't have some of the best characters of the game, autoing it might not be an option for you if you're going to be wanting to do 12. And if you're willing to manual it with some suboptimal heroes, he's going to be a really good option for you, because he's providing a lot for what beats that dungeon in adding poison and stopping the heals and stopping the positive effects. All those things really apply to there, and he's only a rare. So yes, he's a void rare. I believe they're a little bit more rare in the polls, but it's still an elite character. Very useful in just how many options he provides for you and be able to beat content. And I think it's cool that people are finding really free-to-play friendly ways of beating such hard content in this game. So I think it's really cool. It does take very niche characters. I'll definitely talk about it in another video, but a great rare or a great elite character to think about. That's gonna be a list here. He was like an honorable mention. Those are the top 5 rares here in Awaken Chaos Era. Let me know in the comments below if there's any rares you would like to mention and have been helpful in certain situations, because I'm sure that there's, I'm not saying that these are the only good elite characters. These are just the top ones currently in the game, the ones I've seen the most use out of, the biggest value for you here in this game. So if there's specific elite characters that you like, let me know in the comments below, and where you're using them, because that's the key thing about this game, is where specifically are you finding the use out of them, because there's so many different modes of gameplay that a character could be fantastic in one game mode and horrible in another. So I think that's an important part of it. If you found this video helpful and you're looking for more Awaken Chaos Era videos, be sure to subscribe to the channel. Going to be doing a ton of these here. Got a lot of video ideas that I want to be doing, so definitely subscribe if you're interested in that. And with that, guys, I'm out. Peace.